Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing what I consider to be a universally flattering fall makeup look. As I have been saying lately, I love the fall season. I am so happy that fall is just about here. I know that we're a couple of days away from it actually being fall, but it was 50 degrees this morning, so I'm going to count it. I have here in front of me some of my favorite products to use in the fall, and I wanted to do a makeup look for you guys that I think would look good on just about anybody. And we're mainly talking here about colored makeup products. So eyeshadows, lip products, and cheek color. We'll talk about some of the things that I've selected, some different color options that I have. I have a couple different options here for you guys, and kind of go over how I like to pair things together, especially in the fall. We will get into it, but before we do, special welcome to any new visitors to my channel. Very happy to have you here. I hope that you'll consider subscribing if you haven't done that yet. And if you'd like to be notified every time I upload a new video, make sure that your notification bell is turned on. With all of that said, let's get into the makeup. Alright you guys, so I do have a little bit of makeup on. I already applied my primer, my foundation, my concealer, and my brows. Let me just quickly walk you guys through what I have on so far. I like my skin to be really nice and hydrated and dewy in the fall. Well, actually all year long, but especially in the fall and the winter. So today I use the Smashbox Primerizer along with a new foundation that I'm really loving. This is the Natasha Denona Face Glow Foundation. I got that one on sale on her website when I ordered the Retro palette. In my brows, I have the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Brow Pencil along with my CYO Brow Gel, which unfortunately is discontinued. I need to find a dupe for this because I am so into this product right now. I am absolutely loving what it's doing for my brows. And that is it so far. So we're going to jump in first with some bronzer. So I probably could have put on bronzer beforehand. I'm not that seasonally picky with my bronzers. They basically just need to be the right shade for my skin tone at the time. But today I wanted to use this one on camera for you guys because I don't think I've used it on camera yet. It is the Kaja Playa Bento Trio, this cream bronzer in this little, I want to say palette. It's not a palette. It's a little stack. That's right, stack. But I really love this bronzer. It's a really good shade for me, or if you have light or fair skin, I think you'd really like this shade. It's a good undertone. It's nice and bronze, but it's not overly orange. It's not overly yellow. It's a really good color if you have more fair skin. So I just like to swipe it on my cheeks, and then I use just a angled kind of blush brush to blend it out. Super, super easy to blend too, which I love. So I want a little bit more shape to my face in the fall. It's definitely not something I always do and not something you would need to do. This is kind of a personal preference thing, but I do want just a little bit of contouring. So I'm going to add a little bit of this same bronzer along the sides of my nose. I'm going to add a little bit underneath my bottom lip right here, and then I'm going to add a tiny bit right kind of at the base of my jaw, kind of where it curves under. We will blend that out. I do want to also add just a little bit here to my temples, and then we will be done with bronzer. Oh, I forgot to blend out my nose. Glad I caught that. So there is the finished bronzer. We're actually going to move into the eyes next, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about cheek color, lip color, how I kind of like to coordinate those together, talk about some of the options that I have for you guys. Before the eyes today, I picked a palette that number one, I think a lot of you very well might own, and also it's a color story I love for fall, and I think it would look good on a lot of different skin tones or a lot of different makeup preferences. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I did mention this in my most recent video where I talked about the palettes I'm most excited to use for fall. This is the most neutral of the ones that I think I showed you guys. It is just such a great palette, especially for fall. It's nice and warm, but I love that it gives you some berry tones and even this like dusty mauve kind of cool tone shade right here. For the fall, I really like warm tones. I like a little bit of berry, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit of both. I think we're going to go with some of the warmer brown transition shades to start off with. Then I think I'll add a touch of these berries as well as this champagne. Then we're really going to add some richness and depth to the outer corner. Now, especially in the fall, I like a lot of richness in my outer corner. That's actually a look I love all year long, which you guys probably know if you've been watching my videos for a while, but especially in the fall, I really love to layer up depth in the outer corner, and I like to combine like cooler, deeper tones with some warmer tones. I love combining a red and a brown in the outer corner. I think when you layer up your darker shadows in your outer corner and go in just a little bit at a time, it gives you a level of richness and depth that just looks so warm and cozy. And layering up shades in your outer corner is something you can do regardless of what your skin tone is. If you're a little bit more light or fair, you want to be a little bit light-handed when you're doing that if you don't want something overly smoky or dark. And for those of you that are more medium to deep complected, you can add more layers, go in a little more heavy-handed, and really go in with these darker shades right here to give you that intense depth. So we are going to do that today. We're going to use this palette to create a beautiful fall look. We're going to do it in double time, and then I'll talk you guys through some of the details of when I am done. Alright you guys, here are the finished eyes. Also, here are the finished lips and cheeks. I thought my mic was on. I actually recorded the last half of this video without my mic turned on. So rather than refilming the whole thing, because I don't have the time to do that today, I'm going to walk you guys through what I did for the rest of the face as far as cheek color, lip color. Let me just share with you guys what I used and what some of the options were. So starting with the cheeks. So today I actually ended up using the e.l.f. blush palette. This is the dark version of their blush palette. This thing is quite old. I think it's been around for like 5 years. I may have even had this for 5 years. I've had this on the chopping block a couple of times during a blush declutter video, but I was determined to use it a little bit more this fall, so I did use it today. I actually had a little bit of trouble with these today. I think it might have been because I used a cream cheek product first. I'm going to give it another try with my cheeks powdered beforehand and see if I like it a little bit better. It was a little tricky though. I had to do a little bit of fixing with my sponge afterwards because it seemed to be a little bit patchy. But as far as the colors, I used a mix of these two shades right here that have a little bit more berry tone than pink in them. There they are right there. Beautiful, beautiful shades. Let me swatch them for you guys on the back of my hand. There they are right there. I used just a combination of those two. But a couple other options for blushes for fall that I really, really love. First off, this one right here from Essence. This is the blush blush. This one is in the shade Befitting. You'll see a lot of similarities in some of these shades. There it is right there. Beautiful shade for fall. It reminds me a little bit of Melba by MAC, but maybe a little bit deeper. Very good neutral shade if you like that for fall. If you like something a little bit more creamy, this one is very similar in color, different in formula. I love this one as well. It's the ColourPop Super Shock Blush in the shade Between the Sheets. This one is so, so pretty. Oh, this one I just tried out last year for the first time after you guys recommended it to me. So happy that I did. This is a beautiful shade. Any time of year, really. It's a good neutral shade, but it does have a nice pinky berry tone to it that I think makes it great for fall. And last but certainly not least, one of my very favorite blushes over the last 6 months or so is this right here. This is from ColourPop. It's their Cheek Dew. This one specifically is in the shade Hot Fuss. I have about 5 of these now. This is by far my very favorite shade that I own. It is quite intense, quite pigmented, quite rich, but I think it's one that would work for anyone, regardless of whether you're very, very fair. You're going to need to be a little bit more light-handed and careful with it, or if you have more medium to deep skin, you can really build up some intense color with this one. Look how pretty that shade is. It's a very apple sort of warm red, but you put this on your cheeks and it just looks like you just got done picking apples out in the cold vigorously. Maybe you just ran home from the bus stop. No, those are all dumb analogies. What I'm trying to say is just a really beautiful, natural looking kind of flush color on your cheeks that I think is perfect any time of year again, but especially in the fall. I really love a rosy cheek in the fall. So those were my options for cheek colors. For my highlighter, today I actually used my Revlon Skin Lights highlighter in the shade Daybreak Glimmer. I love a bit of gold on the cheeks, but it can't be too dark of a gold. It needs to be something very fair because my skin does start to lose the little bit of tan that I got in the summer very quickly. And this one is perfect because it's a nice light tone. It's also a little bit sheer. So I think this would work for a lot of different skin tones. Obviously, the more dark your skin tone, the more intense this highlighter is going to show up on you. But I love the formula of this one so much. I've been talking a lot about it over the last 6 months, and it is quickly climbing to the very, very tippy top of my highlighter rankings. And I did put a little bit of the Persona Dream Stick highlighter underneath as a base just to give it a little bit more intensity. For my lips today, I first started off with this lip liner from ColourPop. This is the shade Beeper, which, by the way, I found a perfect dupe for. Or I should say, I found this is a perfect dupe for one of my favorite high-end lip liners. But I'm actually going to hold off on showing that to you guys today because I'm saving that for a dupe video that I have coming up. This is the color right here. It's a nice deep nude, which I absolutely love in the fall. So I lightly lined my lips with this color just on the top center and bottom center, really kind of smudged it in with my finger. And then I went in with this sheer berry tone right here. I love these so much. I know I keep talking about them, but I continue to love them. It is the Hard Candy Plumping Serum Lip Balm, or serum. Yeah, that was right. First time. Good job. This one is in the shade Colossal Caramel. It is such a pretty sheer berry tone. Oh, I love these so much. They're really, really nice and glossy. They're comfortable. They do have a subtle plumping effect, which I really enjoy. These actually make really good blushes as well, which I've mentioned before. I love this shade though. It is what I'm wearing on top of that lip liner, but I also recommend it if you want something a little bit more deep, more mid-toned. I love anything that has a little bit of mauve or berry in it. And this one right here, this is discontinued. I need to try out the new versions of these. It's from Bite Beauty. It's their old Amuse Bouche formula. This one is in the shade Pepper. Such a pretty shade. I like to use this one with a really light hand and mostly kind of concentrate on the perimeter of my lips and then put something a little bit lighter in the center. It makes such a beautiful fall lip color. But that was it. Those are the things that I used today. Those are my recommendations for a quintessential fall makeup look. Quintessential, nobody uses that word. Let's call it a go-to fall makeup look. I think this would look good on just about anybody. Again, with the eyes, I know they're a little bit deep. I went a little bit smoky today. If you're not into that level of smokiness or richness, you can just go a little bit more light-handed with the palette. I'd probably steer clear, especially of these 3 shades right here, because they are quite intensely dark on the eyes. And I would even say these 2 shades go on a lot darker than they look in the pan. So just be a little bit light-handed if you don't want something that's going to come out very deep and smoky. Or maybe you want something a little more intense. You could add a little bit more of these 2 right here, or even dip into a little bit of that black. But I love how this look turned out. I love the combination of this kind of warm peachy gold right here that I have on my inner lid, along with this deep berry tone on the outer part of the lid. I just think they make such a pretty combination. Such a beautiful palette. I have been neglecting this for far too long. I can't wait to use it a little bit more over the coming weeks. But that is all I have for you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Again, I'm sorry about the little screw up there at the end. Hopefully, maybe it'll make this video nice and short, but I hope it was helpful or entertaining to you guys. Nonetheless, thank you all so much for stopping by. Let me remind you one more time to subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.